Hello, it's me, Goose. All right, it may have taken me 2 months and sleepless nights and multiple recordings, but finally, my E2L video is done. It is complete. It is finito, and you are now here to watch this video. And by the way, thank you all so much for your subscribers to my little channel. We're at 404 now, and all the likes and the comments and all those wonderful things. It makes a Goose really proud to be here. I promise to upload some more fan fiction, tropey type stuff in the future. I have some plans for like a series I want to work on. They're all kind of up in the air right now, but this one is going to be like my first official dipping my toe in introduction to talking about some of my favorite tropes with you guys, and I really hope you all enjoy it. I had a lot of fun. Well, I did have a lot of fun despite everything. I did have a lot of fun with it. So let's begin. So what is E2L? What is the spice that gives the delicious gumbo that is E2L its flavor? Now I'm hungry. Anyway, E2L thrives on conflict. It is having two opposing forces that are inexplicably drawn to one another passionately. Like that is like the fireworks. That is the light, the match, the stick of dynamite that is E2L. It does not work if there isn't conflict. So, and this usually leads to people kind of confusing rivals to lovers the same as E2L, and it's not the same. Rivals to lovers lives on competition, like sports teams, like climb the corporate ladder, like two thieves going after the same treasure. It's a shared goal. That's what has rivals to lovers set apart from enemies to lovers. Enemies to lovers have two completely different goals. You know, the bad, evil wizard wants to destroy the world, and the good paladin person wants to save the world. They are not compatible goals. Whereas with rivals to lovers, they are usually a shared goal. And so, usually what go on rivals lovers, when at a certain point, they might team up to get to that same goal. you know, the two thieves going for the same treasure might have a little team up against, some third party that's going to go in there and destroy the environment to get to that particular treasure. Whereas again, with enemies to lovers, it's not the same thing. So you can't really put someone like Seto Kaiba and Yami Yugi and call them enemies to lovers, despite how crazy those duels actually get, because generally the goal is beating one another. They just want to, who's going to be the king of games? One dude's going to be the king of games, as opposed to, Sherlock and Moriarty. One is a criminal mastermind set to destroy, society or whatever, and the other one is a brilliant detective that wants to solve whoever's doing it and stop them in their tracks. Opposing goals. So after you figure out which is enemies to lovers, you kind of have to ask yourself, but why though? Like, enemies to lovers can be so toxic. Like, they're fighting each other. They could kill each other. It can be inherently abusive. It can be all of it. And, yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. As a top degenerate, I am all about the violence. I am all about the extra saucy violence. I want my enemies to lovers ship to go down and just be vile to each other, because that's the kind of shit that I like. But you don't have to make your E2L graphic and violent and toxic and everything else like that. You just have to make sure that there are enemies, that they are against one another. They have to be opposites. And sometimes with E2Ls, you can have the bad guy go on a path of redemption to become a good guy for the his lover to accept them fully, or you can have, in case of like Hannibal, you can have the good guy completely turn and join the bad guy, and nobody's happy, but except me. I'm completely happy with Hannibal. You'll never see him complain about that. But ultimately, with your going in regards to E2L, is that you want to go ahead and have that allure of the push and the pull, that resistance, that dynamic. For the fellow E2L lovers up there, we know full well the sauciness of what happens if an enemy is trying to kill their rival, try to kill their hero person character, and that hero person character gets injured by, I don't know, by a peon, by some other second in command to the main bad guy. They get hurt somehow, and there's always that moment where the villain is sitting in their corner in their castle and they're angry. They're like, how dare you? How dare you hurt my precious hero? How dare you interfere with my plans? Again, to borrow from my own video, I'm allowed to hurt Pookie. You're not allowed to hurt Pookie. Pookie is mine to hurt, right? And so the hero is so hurt that none of the technology that the good guys have on standby can help their injuries. So they break into the facility and they either kidnap the hero to heal them up, or they provide a life-saving elixir to heal them from, their affliction out there. And that is when we, as E2Lers, are sitting there saying, oh yes, the spice must flow. We are committed. We are here. Because the idea is, which one of the hero or the villain will crack? Will the hero be pushed to do something against their nature to save the villain? Or will the villain do something against their nature and ultimately their plans to save the hero? And that's what keeps you on the edge of your seat. You can sit there and say, oh, one of you bitches are going to break. I don't know who, but one of you bitches are going to break. And usually, again, for us E2L lovers, it comes down to the hero getting the villain at their most vulnerable moment, where they've been defeated far too many times, or they face being killed by their, master, commander, person, whatever, their head boss or something like that, and they are broken and they don't know what to do. And so they are lost and they're wandered, they're unsure what's going on. And then they meet up with the hero one day and they said, you ruined everything. You've taken everything from me. How could you do this? And they have like another fight, they have another big fight to each other, and it just comes down to them just kissing. I don't have any examples of that. I probably will think of some examples as I'm editing this particular video. I don't know. You probably have some examples. If you do, please list them in the comments below, because I would love to know more about your E2L pairings. They make me happy. They give me joy in there. But that is why, an E2L won't work unless there is some, some risk. There is some danger to the E2L pair, because that's what fuels it. If it was safe, we wouldn't be shipping it. We wouldn't be down with as it did if they were just a safe, comfy pair. There's comfy pairs and that's fine. But we're here for the toxicity. We're here for toxicity. There's so many examples that you can pick from the past all the way up to the present, where you see, yeah, this trope doesn't seem to go away. Why is that? It's because it's such an exciting dynamic. It really is dynamic driven. A lot of ships, when they're, when you pick up on a ship that you like so much, it's because you love the opposites. It's because you love the potential of what would happen if this happened. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the trope doesn't have toxic elements. I refuse to be like tutting and saying anything like that. It definitely does. But again, like I said before, it is as toxic as you want it to be. It can be, like I said, it can be as fluffy enemies. Like, you can make it as I would say, like one of the ships that I recently found that was a thing, and I'm not too aware of this particular ship, but I'm surprised it is a thing, but I'm also not, is was it Doofenshmirtz and Perry the Platypus. I never watched Phineas and Ferb. I think that was a little after my time, but it's popular. I enjoy it. I think the memes and stuff are funny for it, but apparently that is a ship, and I'm not mad about it. I will never yuck anybody's yum, but there you go. To me, that's kind of a fluffy E2L, because it's a more cartoony E2L kind of thing. And then then there's people like me who also like ship Sakura, and that's I did a whole video about that, explaining my reasons for Sakura being as it is. But another people will usually tell me, why does E2L get confused with Rivals to Lovers? And it's because Rivals to Lovers it's a very thin line. Rivals to Lovers is a very soft version of E2L. Like I mentioned before, it is a competition-based ship dynamic, not a conflict-based ship dynamic. And when you have characters who are rival, like you can have the same thing can happen from E2L. They can be completely equals in strength and speed and intelligence and everything else like that. But one has a different goal from the other one. With rivals to lovers, it's the same goal. And so when you have characters that you like and they kind of have that little edge to them, you kind of feel like they're going to be an E2L kind of ship. And you look at it, that's not it. That's not how that there wouldn't be an enemy to love because they have the same exact goal, right? I'm gonna make this make sense in writing. I swear I'm gonna make this make sense in writing. But ultimately, again, that's really the big difference between E2L and R2L. One is conflict based, which is E2L. One is competition based, which is R2L. And so you probably do have ships that are your favorites that you kind of would mislabel as E2L based on, the viciousness of how they might fight each other. But when you start peeling back the layers of it, like, oh, wait, you're not competing. You're kind of at opposite sides of who's going to win, who's going to be the power, who's going to destroy the world. Like, oh, okay, wait a minute, that might not be it. And so that's what I think a lot of the conflict comes into, because a lot of people might automatically think enemies to lover is problematic, toxic, evil, whatever on here, and they don't want to see seen as shipping or supporting something that's problematic, which is valid. It's completely valid. But again, much like with most tropes, it can be as extreme or as soft as you really want them to be, except for the really hard ones, the really, really hard, dark ones. You really can't make them any softer. But I'm talking about this, you can probably make pretty soft on here. So now, before I close up this video, you might be asking me, well, I do like some aspects of E2L, but I kind of don't like a lot of the really bad stuff. And as I mentioned many times in this video already, you can make them soft, E2L. You can make it, soft, or just do rivals to lovers. Rivals to lovers can be as toxic as hell, too, because there's only one really thin line of shipping R2L that can make it into E2L pretty quickly. And I'll use my favorite example. My favorite example of showing the sliding scales between E2L and R2L is Goku and Vegeta, and by extension, Vegeta and Bulma. This is my best example for it. So basically, we have it straight up like this. In the first half of Dragon Ball, well, second half, spin-off season, whatever. The first part of Dragon Ball, you have Goku and Vegeta not knowing who the fuck either one of them are. They don't know each other from jack shit. They just know that they're saying and they had a fight. And they're fighting. And it's literally a fight to the death. They're not fighting over cards or anything. They are fighting to the death. And they kind of end in a tie. Goku was wrecked beyond belief. Vegeta is pretty much on out. And, Vegeta goes fuck off back to Namek, and Goku is in the capsule to heal up for a couple of months before he, can recover anything. Fast forward to Namek. Vegeta is now out. He's like, okay, I gotta get these goddamn Dragon Balls. I gotta figure what these are all about, and I gotta get these Dragon Balls, and I gotta make my wish. That's what I want to do. And of course, Goku and the team are all hot on his trail. And at that time, Bulma meets up or has a dream about Vegeta coming to kill her to take her radar and everything else like that. But there's a little tiny seed, of interest in Bulma, because Bulma is that bitch. Bulma is that bitch. She's like, okay, listen, I'm scared, but I got plans. We'll come back to that later. So fast forward everything happening in the Frieza, whatever. Vegeta dies, comes back to life, wants to kill Goku, blah, 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 blah. Go back to planet Earth. Frieza is dead. Vegeta's back on the planet, and Goku is missing at this point. So it's not just going to be Vegeta, the strongest being on the face of the planet, against all the scrubs, including Bulma. But Bulma is like, no, I'm not afraid of nothing, and tells me, you're going to come live with me. And she tames Vegeta, essentially. She tames Vegeta. And then fast forward to the Android saga, and it's, again, Vegeta is trained to become a Super Saiyan. He's trained to master the art. Bulma helps him with that. They have a relationship together. They hook up with each other. But Vegeta's competition, his drive to beat Goku, doesn't go away. It's still there. He's willing to do whatever it takes to beat Goku on that point. So there's not a lot of things things in quote between Goku and Vegeta at this point. And Bulma is definitely of interest to Vegeta because they had a kid together, but is not really hitting Vegeta until like after the Cell Saga, going into like the Majin Buu saga in there. That Vegeta is obsessed with it. Like, the planet was saved by Goku, and then his offspring was in there, and then his son outclassed him. And so he gets drunk by the potential of being more powerful. He becomes possessed by a Majin. And then they're having a whole knockdown fight, and everything's going crazy, and, whatever. But in that moment of Majin Vegeta and Goku, Majin Vegeta realizes, holy shit, what have I done? What the hell have I been doing with this? What have I been doing? I have been so afraid of being weak. I got comfortable. I got happy. I began to forget about that edge that made me the prince because I have a wife and I have a kid and I'm happy, and it's slowly getting, I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid of that kind of change in him. And that's why he tipped over and went to being a Majin. And he started again throughout the Majin Buu and the Buu saga and everything like that. He began to change his focus. And so that's where you get the rewarding part at the end of the whole Buu saga, where he's like, you're my friend. You're my friend, Kakarot. God damn it. You're my friend. You're my friend. And then ultimately, that's kind of where Goku and Vegeta and Bulma are. Vegeta started as an enemy to Goku and Bulma. Then he became a rival to Goku and a husband or a father with Bulma. Then he went back to being an enemy with the Majin Buu, whole Majin Buu saga, where he's actually trying to kill and he doesn't give a shit about anything. And he goes right back to being just rival / soulmate with at the end of Buu saga. And that's kind of where he's been full out. Like, I don't know much about later chapters in Dragon Ball Supers. I don't know a lot about what's going on in there, but I know that Vegeta's had moments where he teeters into that space. I mean, we had the whole infamous episode in Daima where he was fighting that guy, and Bulma said, "We're not going to bathe anymore if we keep this bullshit up." And he says, "A man listens." He goes back to being there because Vegeta loves his wife. He loves Bulma. Bulma has canonically, one is fandom, one is canonically, has tamed and showed Vegeta the joy of being who he is now. He's still powerful. He still has the edge to fight. He can still do everything else like that, but he has something worth protecting. And so that's where the flavor, the sliding scales from E2L to R2L happens in there. And that can happen with any shit. Really, that can happen with just about any kind of R2L, E2L dynamic. The main point is conflict. That's what I said. And so be flexible. Basically, what I'm telling you is to be flexible. Do not feel like there's hard limits for E2L and hard limits to R2L. But in terms of making your life easier, understand the two main differences: conflict and competition. If you don't have either of those, you're just having a company ship, which is fine. But if you want to do an E2L, remember the conflict. If you want to do an R2L, remember the competition. Doing that will help you and find the fix and the art and the shows and stuff you like, and you'll be a happy goose. That was a doozy. I hope you all enjoyed this crazy little trope video that I have worked up with. I plan on doing some more tropes in the future. Feel free to sound off if you have any trope ideas that you want to talk about or anything you want to talk about. Eventually, I promise, I've said it before, I promise I'll do a discourse video. I said it, I mean it. Why? Oh, you know what? Once I get how about this? How about once I reach 1,000 subscribers, I will do a discourse video. Okay? How about that? How about that? How about that's a goal? There you go. Let me get that. Let me endure the pain of doing a discourse video. Let me get to 1,000 subs, and then I will do a discourse video. Is that fair? That sounds pretty fair. Anyway, my name is Goose. You drink your water. I'm going to find me some of my favorite E2L fics and read and chill out. And you guys have a great, great day. Thanks for watching.